CMPRadio.net, the voice of Chester.
CMPRadio.net. We are live from the Cultivating Mature Positivity Studios. Why y'all looks like y'all so off-centered? Anyway, it's Monday. After a very hellacious weekend, so much shit happened. So many things didn't happen. I just want to know what really happened this weekend.
I just need you to be on the screen with us.
You need me to be on the screen with you? I always do that, bro. All right, there you go. You happy now? I'm on the screen.
Yeah, that works.
I'm on the screen. I'm on the screen. Good morning, Nafati.
Good morning. I'm finally caught up on sleep.
You sure?
Yeah.
Your hair don't look like you caught up on your sleep.
I know I had braids, but I took them out. But I figured if Kenny can wear his hair like this, so can I.
Can he take your hood off?
No.
He put his hood on because he didn't want us to look alike. Mine
Y'all
is
didn't
longer.
look like twins?
No. I put my hood on to represent that I'm black.
That you black? Okay.
That's what it's for? A word.
Right hand.
I stand with Kyrie.
Right hand. Right
I
hand.
stand
them
with
both
Dave
up.
Chappelle.
Right hand, right hand.
No, this is my hand. I want to raise up.
All right.
I stand with Kyrie. I stand with Kanye. And now I got to stand with Dave Chappelle.
Why you standing with Dave Chappelle? What the hell Dave Chappelle do?
You know what Dave Chappelle did. He made jokes about stuff, and now they want to boycott him.
Thank you, Jabri.
So Dave Chappelle, he did his monologue this weekend on Saturday Night Live, and he talked about Kanye and Kyrie. So now they're trying to murder him and cancel him.
They canceled him.
They
I mean,
can't.
they canceled
on the
that.
way.
They deleted that show. I believe they took it down.
They can't take. They have never ever taken a Saturday Night Live show
They have
down.
never, ever had a black man get on there and talk about those people.
They should have known he was going to get up there and do that.
They
Dave
probably-
Chappelle is
you
not
know-
that type of comedian.
They probably didn't expect him
They
to,
did- yeah, they probably
considering
didn't
what
expect him.
happened already for others who have talked about those type of people. So considering that they talked about him, says no one else will follow suit. Nobody's going to come on here and blatantly talk about anybody, whether it's on national TV, social sites, nothing. We already set an example.
Dave
twice.
Chappelle's logo is black, green, and red. So that tells you right there, he's flying the flag in front of your face, right? Anybody that attacks any of my brothers is an enemy to me. So That's how he looks at it. He doesn't need any sponsorship from Adidas. He don't need no sponsorship from Nike. Like, he makes his own money. And he walked away from millions of dollars. So the wrong thing for anybody from Saturday Night Live would be to put Dave Chappelle up when all this shit is going down in the black community.
Well, they did.
Do you think that was intentional though? Like, I know it was probably already planned and scheduled, but do you think that was intentional, knowing he couldn't hold his tongue? Like, how about they knew that he was going to say something. They just didn't know to what extent he was going to say it.
Oh, they knew to what extent he was going to go. Because he usually has to give the monologue to the writers or whoever before.
Yeah, but a monologue to comedy is kind of like an outline.
Right. This is what I'm going to talk about.
This topic, and this topic.
So
right.
it's no
They probably seen the
specifics.
topic. He said, I'm not going to talk about that part, though.
Yeah,
Just talk about this.
No, he probably didn't even put it in the words. Because we have our own English language, so he probably didn't say I'm going to talk about Kanye and Kyrie. He probably said, I'm going to talk about
Adidas.
community events and what's been going on in the local news. It's a way to get around it. Community events say two black brothers one from Chicago and one from wherever Kyrie from have been demasculated in the community. And no, we didn't cut their nuts off, but we cut their nuts off.
They definitely did.
In front of y'all.
Yeah, in front of the whole world, and y'all still don't
niggas.
see nothing. So he didn't. He said
y'all
he was
still
going
ain't
to
sticking
talk
behind
about
him.
it. It just didn't read how they. It just wasn't written how they read it. That's all. And that, I mean,
Can we boycott Adidas?
Absolutely.
no one should want to buy another pair of Adidas.
Nobody should want to buy another pair of sneakers, period. Nike, Adidas, Nike for cutting Kyrie. Like, literally, right? Because Kyrie didn't make that movie. He just shared it.
And he only shared it in his story.
But he said, I did not know that 300 million of my ancestors are buried in this country. Illegally. They didn't have funerals. Y'all just threw them all in piles, like everywhere.
Mass
So
graves.
information that I'm just now understanding, you posted, like, shit, I want other people to know this. He wasn't going against the Jewish League or whatever they said, the anti-Semitism. But I believe that Kyrie found knowledge and he wanted to share it with other people, and then people are holding him accountable for the knowledge that he found because it goes against what they're pushing. You know what I mean?
They pushing, so they cut his balls off in front of everybody.
Yeah, the same thing they was doing on the ships, right?
I was watching the movie
In the camps, right?
It's,
They was cutting-
it's
they was
like
cutting
2 hours
them off.
long. It's pretty good. You need to watch it because of what it's informing you about. Number one, number two. I feel like when a lot of the Jewish community, the white Jewish community, not the black Jewish community, when the white Jewish community, like, they do this thing where it's like, but you don't understand. We were part of the Holocaust, and it was terrible what it did to our families. And I do believe it was terrible. And I do believe you guys got reparations for it. And I do believe, how many years did it last for?
It was at least 5.
Yeah, 5 years. I really can't compare your emotions for 5 years
Against 400.
for something that's still going on right now.
Absolutely.
For something that has been going on since America has been established.
I think we need to sit our children down and have them watch it. I think that we became woke too late. I think that's the problem. I think that we were beyond our 20s. I don't think so either, because we're still learning along the way. We just, cracking an eyelid open. I think that we should tell our children should have to watch these documentaries before they delete them, because our children are the ones who get to tell our story and keep us alive in the end, and then their children, so that it has to be knowledge passed down. This stuff been out here for us to read, but they said, what? Want to hide something from a black, put it in a book.
Put it in a book.
Yeah,
So it's been out there. So people been writing it, and they didn't have social sites, so you only had the option to pick up a book or a newspaper.
But when people did try to tell you on TV and stuff, it was people like Farrakhan, Elijah Muhammad.
It was
and what
his
they did was
presentation.
but it wasn't his presentation.
I think
How many-
Farrakhan.
I believe he presented it pretty well to you.
But how?
He presented it.
So,
He presented it
listen,
very
so
proper.
today we're going to talk about what went on with brother Kanye and brother Kyrie.
Right.
Now let's talk about this, people.
Right.
I'm turning. I fell asleep. I'm dead serious. It's not. It's like you gotta have some type of enthusiasm in your voice when you're trying to educate people, because you need to be just as excited about giving knowledge as you were to receive.
To me,
it.
that's that
You have-
pastor stuff.
and
That's
I-
that
and I- and I
reverend
take
and all that.
I take that.
But
you know why? But guess
guess
what?
what?
We ain't falling asleep in church all the time.
People
when
are.
you get that silent.
You don't fall asleep in church?
I fall asleep in
Everybody
church all
falls
the
asleep
time.
in church
That's
while the
because you
reverend
don't want the
jumping
message,
around.
because it's
Oh
not
my
your religion.
God! Now I don't want the.
But if you go into the church and the pastor is telling you, so listen, we're gonna talk about brother Kyrie And Brother Kanye today, we're going to talk about how the Jewish community is attacking him and how
Brother
the banks
Jackson is still over there falling asleep.
No, he's not.
Fall asleep every Sunday.
And the kids are falling asleep, but the people who should be listening are listening. The people that are our age, they're in tune, they're enthused by what's being said because it's giving from an exciting point of view. I'm excited to tell y'all what's going on that y'all have no knowledge of.
So,
I'm enthused that you're willing to learn from me.
Can I interject real quick? Mm-hmm. You said it's because of the religion.
No, that you fell asleep. Because you don't want to hear when they talk about Christ.
No, I don't have
church.
I don't have a problem when they talk about Christ. I don't have a problem when anybody talks about their religion because I give that much respect to them. It's the messenger that's giving the message that I really don't care about. If I leave out of church and you got a Lexus out front, you don't care about your community.
So you think Brother Farrakhan don't have a?
I've never seen his car.
You don't think that he drives in a nice car?
I'm not.
Or someone is driving him
I'm not
in
doubting,
a nice car.
I'm not doubting that someone.
I'm
is
just not
driving
feeling
him.
the fact that you said because he delivered his message in a calm and polite way so that people could understand and depict what he was saying that you didn't understand. And then if you look at his messages, he doesn't just deliver his message calm and lightly. He yells when he has to. He's very boisterous when he has to be.
I'm saying when he talks about it, when he starts to speak on it, so he's too calm. It's already from the beginning.
T.D. Jakes.
No, I'll pull up 1,000 videos of him coming straight at you.
T.D. James.
I'll pull up 100 videos of him coming straight at you as soon as he get on.
Right, and then he's like, "Oh no, look at how he talks to people. You know that they don't talk like
he
that."
He has very different formal ways of speaking.
He talks about women.
How does he talk about women?
He's very degrading about women and what place they should stay in, and this, that, and the third. Yes, he has talked like that.
Nah, you gonna have to show me that one. You gonna have to pull up some facts on that one.
So what you're saying is the women that follow behind him, are blind to the fact that he's being degrading to them? You're more woke to the fact that he's being degrading?
I think that they are brainwashed. I do. That's my opinion.
Wow.
I do.
Okay.
I think that they are brainwashed. They have been in it for so long that they really honestly believe that's love and not religion. So they look at him as the man that they love, not the man that they should be following behind to get to God.
But didn't the women love Jesus? Didn't Mary Magdalene love Jesus? Didn't Mary, his mother, love Jesus? Like, you have to love somebody if you're going to follow them.
Did they jump in the grave with him?
They tried to. They tried to jump on the cross. They fought with the Roman soldiers. They fought with the Roman soldiers. If you go by what you read, if you go by what you read and what you saw, Mary Magdalene was not his mom. The other women that were with them. You say his mom though.
His mom was at the cross, wishing to be there. His mother. So I'm just saying, I'm a mom. I'm going to stand in front of my son and take a whip first.
Right.
And yes, he will push me out the way and say, "No, mom, this is for me." But at the same time, I'm still going to be that mom that's going to stand in front of him. Plain and simple as that. I'm taking a fight for my son.
So I don't think the women of the NOI are brainwashed.
Of course you would, and that's your religion.
It's not.
You think that Mary Magdalene was following Jesus for the love and not the religion?
She was because he loved her. And he told her in that let the first person without sin cast the first stone upon this woman. He loved her. She was a whore. Nobody else loved her. He loved her. He washed her feet. That's love. That's not just sitting there saying, "I'm doing this because she."
He forgave her for her sins.
And everybody else love her.
Everybody else, he loved us all, though.
Right.
So you can't just be with her specifically. It was because of how she
we
did
all
that
have
everybody
sin.
judged.
We all have. Nobody's perfect.
So
right?
Did he say that he didn't love anybody else?
Right. No, I'm not saying that. But he loved her.
He loved her in a way that no one else would. So he wanted to show you that despite what she did, she could still have a relationship with me and my father.
And so because of that, other women loved him for loving her. Damn, look at everything that he just did for her.
No matter what I do, unless it's killing, I can be forgiven.
You can be forgiven for killing.
Well, I heard that killing is I read it in the Bible.
Right.
So
if it's a reason behind it.
If it's a justifiable reason.
If I kill you for something you did against my family or to me, and I kill you and murder you and cut your fingers off and put you in an acid bath.
That's not the justification.
Oh, no, I can't do that.
No. It's more so if you harm someone that could not bring harm to someone else, a child.
Right.
An older person. Yeah.
Well, I could kill an old person if they a pedophile, right?
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that would be written off.
Yep.
I do. But it also said that the women loved him because he loved her in a way that no one else would. That's it. No one else would forgive her. They just saw what her acts. They didn't see her heart or what her true intentions was or why she did it.
So maybe the women of the NOI understand that about Farrakhan, right? Just like the women of a church.
You're not going to tell
follow
me
behind
hundreds
the
of millions
pastor.
of women are brainwashed. It doesn't
work like that.
That's your opinion.
It doesn't. I come from
It's
a
your
family from
opinion.
an FOI. I don't.
Okay.
You're not going to tell me the women were
I
brainwashed.
come from a family of Christians.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're
They
all
weren't.
the same. You're following behind someone. And people can say you're brainwashed because you go to this church, or you're brainwashed because you go to that
They
church.
do.
These are the things that divide us at the end of the day, and this is
Religion.
why we are so easily picked on.
I think assumptions divide a lot of people.
Right.
You're assuming
Thanks,
without
Steve.
facts when you're doing stuff off of a basis of like not really knowing what's going on. That's because trust me, I know plenty of women that are Muslims, that are FOI. I know brothers that are FOI.
Right.
This is not no brainwashing type thing. This isn't you got to do this, you got to live that.
Right.
If you listen to a lot of what Farrakhan or Elijah Muhammad was teaching, they wasn't teaching for a woman to be brainwashed. They was just teaching for her to be a wife, and they was asking for men to be accountable to be a husband.
to their woman.
They asked for accountability.
Right.
These are some people. These are one of the most dynamic. FOI has done something that the United States could never do.
Right.
They turned heroin addicts into leaders. What you want your proof? What was Malcolm X? He was a heroin addict.
Right.
They had a formula when they dropped heroin in Harlem.
Right.
Did you ever watch the Bumpy Johnson story?
Absolutely.
What was they doing? They was taking people and they was that's why they were attacked so bad by the police.
Because they was helping their community.
Because they had a formula of getting, and guess what? Their formula wasn't any drugs or anything like that.
Right.
They brought them in, they cleaned them up, they fed them.
Right.
And they just gave them a positive word, a message, and a reason to live. I don't think that that's a system of brainwashing. Because if that was,
I've seen it firsthand, just like you have. I watched a man beat his wife's feet with a hanger. I watched him beat his children on the feet with a hanger. Tried me, and my pop popped him in his face. I watched it.
What did that got to do with FOI?
Because that's what he was.
They wasn't teaching that at no Marge J for you to do that to your family.
I mean, if you don't know what they say about discipline.
We could go back to 1968 when a brother was here. He's like, I joined the FOI because we were out doing things for our community, but they were doing things on the bad side. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you have a good side of every religion and a bad side of every religion. And right there, that's a bad example.
Yeah, so it left a bad
so,
taste in my mouth.
Absolutely.
So what you see is what you see. And I watched that woman every beck and step her husband. I watched that woman alienate her family because of her husband, not because
he
okay,
wanted
this
control.
is my family. He had it.
Right, but that's not the
He
leader.
had it. She
That's not the
walked with
leader
her
wanting
head down
control.
At all times, she never looked people in the eye. She still to this day don't.
Oh, that's what she wanted.
So should I base all you watched one woman and one husband. Should I base everything I do off of Christianity? Let me finish talking. I'll let you just talk. Should I base everything I see off of Christianity off of one Christian? Because what was that guy? What's the white guy, the rich the rich pastor down south that when the flood happened, he wouldn't even let no homeless people in his thing.
Right.
But he made billions and millions of dollars.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? But I wouldn't base that and say all Christians are bad, because all Christians ain't bad. My mother was a Christian. My whole mom's side of my family is a bunch of Christians. I can't go off of, you know what I mean? If that's the case, I need to base Christianity off the Ku Klux Klan. Because they hang you to a damn cross in the name of Jesus.
And burn it in front of your house.
And burn you. I can't do that, though, because I would never base Christianity off of them or off of the acts of a group of people, off of the militia that runs behind that. I have to base it solely off of, I base one person's action off of that person. I'm not going to base...
I base that off of that's the only action that I had.
Right.
Personal encounter.
Right.
I watched it. I lived it. No, following a man or following your husband is not being brainwashed and being respectful. It's being respectful and following your husband. But when it goes a certain way and you start to speak like him, Aisha, and you start to be like him,
that happens naturally after you're with somebody for a long period of time.
I know women who are so in fear of their husbands that they don't come outside, and that's not in the Islamic religion. That's in Christianity. Or they may be Jewish, or they may be Catholic, or they may be whatever it is that they choose to be. But I know what brainwash looks like. I know that she was walking around with not a mind of her own. She would not do anything with it. She didn't think of him first.
Right. So I just want you to to clear up. That's what you know about that one person, not the millions of women that are a part of the FOI.
It's my opinion of how I feel about the millions of women that are a part of the FOI that I see walking exactly how she walks. I don't know them personally.
I want to get you to sit up here with Miss Barbara Muhammad.
I would never do that.
Why not?
Because it's not a conversation I wish to have.
Oh, okay.
But see, there you go. I feel like.
Have I had a conversation with Miss Barbara Muhammad?
And you be around Fruit of Islam women and you don't even know it. You be around Fruit of Islam women and you don't. Stacy, what do you mean? Stacy her father was Cheeks. He was FOI.
Right.
She grew up in Fruit of Islam house. Guess what? You're friends with her. Is she brainwashed?
My mother's attribute is Rashida.
Right.
She is what? My name is not Fatih. My brother's name is Beya, Emil, and Hanif. They are what?
Right.
What are they? I don't know. What are they? You tell me. You just said they Christian. I don't know.
I'm a Christian.
You just told me that you're basing hundreds of women off of what you've seen happen in one relationship.
I said
I can't sit
see
and
these
be
women and do the same.
And be like, oh yeah, that's right.
It's my opinion though.
It's
not
your opinion.
You or nobody else is gonna change that. I know what I saw. I know how she acted.
She know how she felt from
reacted,
that. Right.
And it made me feel some type of way because of who she was. And when that man decided to take a hanger and beat me on my feet, it's always going to have a bad taste in my mouth. Always.
How was he beating people on their feet?
I don't know.
Maybe he had a foot fetish.
No, he literally would tell you had to turn like your feet. You had to get on your knees and turn, and he would beat you on your feet. And it was just how it was in their household.
Yeah, he might have had a foot fetish.
I don't know what he had, but it ain't. I guess other people didn't see marks. I don't know.
Yeah, you can't see no marks on your feet if you always got shoes.
On my feet. I'm plain and simple as that. And it left a bad taste in my mouth. It made me look at her as brainwashed and him as a controlling individual. And they kept saying the religion says, because the such and such says, and because this says, and I'm thinking, what?
You can literally take any verse out of any book. You can do the Torah,
any religion, and then make it into like a reason you should do something to somebody.
You can do the Quran. You can do the Bible.
When I say stuff like
I'm
not talking about you. I was talking about him.
I incorporate every religion.
You can't see all them shots you could take at me. Guess what? My mother was Christian. My father was Fruit of Islam. I grew up on both sides of the field, baby. I love them both. I don't even look at religion as a bias to have a wall in between something. No. Just like how you and Pierre do this Democrat-Republican thing, I don't look at that wall because I look at y'all Republicans and y'all Democrats like y'all two stupid ass sides that don't come together. And I look at Christians and Muslims, and you know what? And I'm gonna say this, and I need to make this real clear.
Right.
If you ever meet a E-man,
right,
he tells you to be knowledgeable with Christians. Mm-hmm. He says, don't debate religion with Christians. They're your brothers.
Even in my face,
they say, be your brothers. I take you to Imam Fareed right now.
Right.
He'll say, Christians is my brothers.
Who Imam Fareed?
And you can't listen to me. And
who
knowledgeable.
Imam Fareed?
Let me finish speaking. Knowledgeable Christians say the same thing.
Hold on.
Because guess what?
I never say that. I never do not say don't be knowledgeable of the religion.
I never said you said it.
But hold on. Who is Imam Fareed? Tell me who is Imam Fareed.
Can I finish speaking?
But can I know who
I'll let you just talk all that time.
All I want to know is who is Imam Fareed.
What masjid is Imam Fareed from?
Conqueror.
Right. Sabi Kun.
You use him as an example?
I mean, everybody has their own situations. Everybody's not perfect. I just want us to all.
No man is perfect.
I just want us to all to understand we all have sins. We all have our things that other people can look at and say, "Why are you picking that person?" If a man is standing here, and that's the problem in the black community. That's why we don't have any leaders, because no one is good enough to lead us. No one is good enough to lead everybody because we're all divided. You're Christian. I'm Muslim. I'm this. I'm that. I'm this. I'm that. I'm that. And then we get picked on. Our leaders get pulled out. Get contracts pulled from them, and we don't have no power to do anything but to hurt each other, to kill each other, to talk bad about each other, to break everybody down. So if we continue to be that way, we're not going to have anything. And we are the chosen people. We are the first people. You don't get lighter to get darker. You get darker to get lighter. So if we were the first people created, and everybody comes from us, then we have to understand what we have and the power that we have, and we got to stop being so easily divided. You're a Christian now. I love you. I don't care what you do in your personal life. I know the type of person you are for other people. I know how much you care about helping other people. I know how much you care about talking about shit so other people can hear it, right? Kenny, he's who he is. I know what he does. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. That's my brother. I am who I am. Y'all know what I do. Y'all don't like that shit. Y'all call me out on my shit. But at the end of the day, if we're together, we have to continue to move together. And that's everybody in this community, bro. So all that shit is bullshit, man. I don't.
It can't be BS.
It has to be.
If we want unity in religion,
No.
and we want because we want everybody to understand each other's side. So it can't be BS when we want everybody to understand each other's side.
But you can't understand everybody's side if no one sits down and really have a conversation to understand. The first thing about listening and having a conversation is listening. You can't listen if you're talking. If we're constantly arguing, nobody's listening to nobody. That's why I don't have conversations with niggas. Look, you want to come and talk to me? Let's have a conversation. Go ahead, say what you say. I let a motherfucker talk for a whole hour before I say anything because I need to hear how you feel. You're going to say it or you're not going to say it, and I'm going to be able to say, well, you didn't say this and you didn't say that, so I know you feel some type of way about that. Real simple. I don't have a problem with nobody. You look at the radio station, I've had Christians here, I've had Muslims here. I'm non-denominational. If I could get a Jewish guy in here to talk about, he could come in here and talk about the same thing. I'm not going to
I know a Jewish guy.
I'm not going to say you can't come in here and talk about what
how you feel about the situation.
Absolutely.
Right.
I'm not going to say you can't come in here and talk about it because you hold rank in this situation.
Aisha, we are taught to respect and understand each other as well. I work with a Muslim man. He told me, he said, if you are in Mecca and there's no churches there, we have to allow you in the mosque in order to pray, and vice versa. He didn't teach me an ignorant way. I don't think that he's the abusive type, but I do see his wife follow him in the way with her head down. But when she's not with him, she's not the type of person that you could say, and she says, oh, I have to check with him first. She knows that she has her own answer. She has her own, it's just that gave me a bad taste in my mouth. And that's how I look at it. You said a FOI, I think he's a Salafi. So I don't know. But you said a FOI, that's what that was. And that's the household that I was in as a child. And it made me look at it like I don't particularly never want to go back there.
Yeah, there's different divides in all religion. Like I stopped going down that rabbit hole and just saying I believe in a God. You feel me? Whatever God I choose to believe in, that's my personal faith. It's a personal thing. It's not for me to pour what I believe onto you and get you to believe that.
You been in a masjid before?
Absolutely.
When have you ever heard anyone Muslim tell you that you should force your religion on anybody?
Nobody. I've never heard
That's not a conversation ever held in a masjid.
But brothers take what they know and they want to give it to other people because
you're the messenger.
Right.
It's delivered a message. They don't tell us to force our religion on people. It says don't be quiet about what Christ has done for you.
Right.
So in other words, please tell another person
a testimony.
It's a testimony. That's
a testimony
it.
at the end of the day.
They ain't telling you go out here, go out there. You better tell them boys on the corner what Christ is out here doing for you.
That's completely different than what I just said. What you just said and what I just asked him was two different things. I asked you in the masjid, has anyone, matter of fact, when you became Muslim, right? What did they say to you? They said, do you want to take your shahada?
Absolutely.
They didn't say you have to take your shahada. Yo, you better take your shahada or you going to the hellfire. We don't do that. That's not what's being done there. It's your religion, your choice.
Right. They say, would you like to be saved?
You said what?
They say, would you like to be saved? They didn't say today is the day you get saved. They don't tell you this. They say, would you like to be saved? If you would like to be saved, come and stand before us and repeat after me.
I think every religion has its beautiful parts, has its horrific parts. But if we continue to fight over what's beautiful in your religion, oh, this is beautiful over here. Well, it's not beautiful over here. Well, they say you do that. Drop all that shit. That's what divides us, bro, at the end of the day. That's why we're divided. That's why we're getting picked off like zebras. The lions are coming through because you got Christians over here, you got Muslims over here, you got and no. When you see a zebra in the wild, bro, the only ones they go after are the ones that are alone, the ones that aren't with their people. You understand what I'm saying? And it's easier. If you're in a group of people, they can't attack you. Y'all can turn around and kick them motherfuckers in the mouth. It's CMPRadio.net. This is the morning meeting, man. Not Fatigued Nerds Family Kitchen was at Brothers Cafe this weekend. They had a karaoke situation. I see DJ Darrell got up there and was singing.
Darrell got up there and sang with two backup singers.
Who was his backup singers?
Picasso and Holy City DJ.
Oh shit. Mm-hmm. So what's the R&B group name? Because you can sing, Kenny.
Kenny sang first.
Yeah.
He on Read Alive. Kenny sang first. And then he didn't know that we was recording him, so he was in it.
Yeah.
So we only caught and she only thought to record him at the end.
Right.
But he was singing first. So a couple people came through and sang for us Saturday, but he started it off because he was testing the mics in the beginning because Diz was supposed to come, but he got called to work.
Okay.
So Kenny sang first, then Darrell walked in. Right. I mean, and he was clean as the Board of Health, just leaving the wedding. So why not? You here, you dressed for the occasion and everything.
So it was DJ Darrell, K Hunt.
It was a bunch of us. It was fun vibes.
And that's what we want.
Fun vibe.
That's what we want. More of that, man. So when y'all doing it again?
I don't know. I know. I believe that what the brothers is doing with their restaurant is trying to make it so that people can come do it and different stuff can happen like that. But I don't know. I would love to see the karaoke night again.
Absolutely.
Karaoke night was very funny over there.
Absolutely. Good energy.
Especially once Mahogany and them came.
Mahogany came?
Oh.
She was singing? I ain't watched her story, but I seen her up there on the joint. Whose story was it? Might have been her own story.
It was hers.
Right. And I was looking. That's a dope situation.
She was singing Versace on the Floor. Is that the name of the song? That's the name of the song.
By Bruno Mars?
Yes.
Yeah. The food was good. It was food. It was, it was a good vibe, good music. It was a vibe.
It was a great weekend. Shout out to Goob for coming through, pouring woo juice on his chicken. Yeah, he said this joint slap. You heard me? He said whatever that sauce is you put on there with this woo, yeah, I'm turning all the way up. Shout out to him for coming through.
So now you got woo chicken?
Woo chicken.
I guess.
Goob has invented
woo chicken.
Yes.
So was it the rotisserie chicken or the fried chicken?
No, he had
rotisserie chicken and put
Asian chili sauce and put woo juice on top of that. He said this joint bang. He was offering people as they came in.
It was good.
It was good.
It was like
it gave a lemon flavor.
Like a lemon flavor.
A lemon flavor?
And he had his
like
with fried potatoes.
Right.
He had his with fried potatoes. He keeps saying, don't get the French fries. Get the fried potatoes.
Listen, it's liquor. So, you know, liquor goes good on food anyway. If you got a steak, you cook it with liquor. You know what I mean? You cook your crabs and beer.
Absolutely.
I think, I just think Goob family is one of them families that poured, like the little liquor on the ribs and stuff. Because he gave it to me. I was like, let me try this shit. Because he was fucking the wings up. I was like, oh, shit. I guess it does. Yeah. It is true. Liquor does make everything better.
Woo wings, man.
You ever had, what's that cake that they make liquor with? Like 7-Up? Rum cake. Yeah, see what I'm saying?
Yeah, my grandma used to make that joint.
Yeah, Uncle Marty make a good rum cake.
You ain't allowed to have none of that. I come down late at night, sneak a piece.
Drunk as hell.
Candy apples with the Henny bottle in it.
Yeah. They had that on the Ave. Yeah. Right? I don't know what class, I think it was 2013 was out there selling them.
Yeah, sometimes low liquor make everything better.
Yeah. Or it can make everything worse. Well, we didn't have that this weekend. Shout out to the Clippers, man. Del-Val champions, man. They didn't win. But it was definitely
Del-Val champions, baby.
Definitely an awesome situation.
What was that record?
10-2.
Phenomenal.
10-2, man. So shout out to the Chester High Clippers, man. I think it's a great situation for them to be able to build for next year. Every year they've surpassed where they've gone. You know what I mean? And they're going to continue to do that. So yeah, definitely shout out to the coaching staff.
I think they need an award show for character. I think they need an award for that.
Character?
Hell yeah, they went through some shit like the fucking Titans.
Right.
Every time you looked on the internet, you could hear all the other parents talking about, damn, it's Chester High against the refs. Right. It's Chester High against these other schools. They was getting called nigger and this and that. And nobody went and boycotted all them stuff. Right. And they got so much racism thrown at them and hatred thrown at them. And guess what?
They still
you didn't hear about no shootings at none of them games. You didn't hear about no crazy riots. No. These kids held their character.
They did.
That is an applaud to them kids, to that coaching staff,
absolutely,
to the parents that helped those kids. That's a major thing, man. Because back in my day, we were allowed to fight at football games. What? When we played Sun Valley, after the game, the coaches know we was going to rumble these white bulls.
Right. Go have that.
What's going on, coach? They was calling us niggas. We're about to go to Pizza Hut.
I ain't appreciate that.
And rumble these
Coach
joints.
Peach though.
What?
Number 10 snuck Coach Peach. I ain't a number 10 from the other team. Plymouth snuck Coach Peach.
What you mean? He punched him?
Punched him. Yeah, of all the coaches out there, you gonna try your hand with Coach Peach? That wasn't cool. That's a senior citizen.
Well, when that happened?
At the end of the game.
Well, what was the score?
30-something to 7 or something like that. 35-7. Just a high game.
I ain't hear that.
That's what the whole mess was about.
I didn't hear nothing about no mess. So tell me what. They
got into a little scuffle. I think it was towards the end of the game. It had to be the end of the game, and they were on the sidelines being disrespectful, trying to big up our crowd. They were on our sideline as they were, and they said it wasn't nobody like in the stands anymore, but they were out there like trying to. And then they started a shoving match or whatever. But however it went, number 10 from Plymouth hit Coach Peach, but none of them get penalized. They don't get penalized for nothing. If that was us and we would have been disrespectful, they would have disqualified us from that round and said that Plymouth would have went on to the next round because we were disqualified. I don't understand why we're not going for them to be disqualified. I don't care what happened as far as the plays are concerned. But that disrespectful manner, how you treat people when they come into your house says a lot about you. But the PIAA will never look at it like we deserve that space. You put us in a spot in a area where we come in and we got to somewhat submit.
How many times has Chester made the playoffs?
I don't know, twice. I thought it was once in like 67. And since like 67.
In our lifetime.
I don't know. None. Never. Never.
So they don't really expect for us to continue to move forward the way we move forward and to do the things that we're trying to do. You know what I mean? So they put up all these walls. And again, it's the distractions, right? It's the things that separate us. They put up this wall to say Chester has to get to this level of greatness before they can make it to the playoffs. And then we're going to make sure they got to run through all these white schools where there aren't that many black faces, where they will get discredited. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's a struggle throughout the whole situation. So what Kenny just said, right, to give them an award is something that they deserve because just to make it to the playoffs. They get to that fight.
They having a banquet. They said they having a banquet. I think I saw on Facebook where they were accepting donations for the banquet. Right. And like just, to make sure they had for food and jackets and whatever else. I saw the GoFundMe, and I believe it's on Coach Bell's page. Somebody tagged them in it. I saw it. I didn't open it up. I was just scrolling through, but they're gonna have a banquet, and I think that they deserve it.
I'm trying to figure out why Interborough ain't in the playoffs and they won a championship. They won District 1. Why Chester ain't in District 1? Why are we still considered to be in this?
I think you got to work your way up.
No, we don't have to work our way up.
They just put you in that place.
Right.
I think you got to work your way up.
I feel like after all the years of Chester never making the playoffs, they should have been put. But I think it's the amount of students that you have in your school as well. So then they say, all right, well, you have a bunch of kids. We have a bunch of kids that don't like to play football. Now they do. Before they didn't. It was a few.
It wasn't that they didn't. It was because they didn't have a great leadership. Their coaching staff, no offense to the prior coaching staff to now, but they didn't give a shit. They was letting them boys walk up and down 9th Street like it wasn't a war zone to get there or to leave there and go home. So they didn't care. So no one wanted to play for that staff. But you gotta give Bell credit where it's due. He built a staff that cares. They on the caring factor. I care more about you getting home than I care about me getting home for dinner.
So it's based on school population, right? So if you have a bigger school population, you go up. And I just feel like, I'm not saying Chester needs to be down where Interborough is, but shit, why? If you're in the same division as them, Del-Val,
why are we not in
we should all be in the same situation. We should be playing up against those people that we're going to end up seeing in the playoffs if we're going to see them in the fucking playoffs. Not playing up against people that are less than us. You feel me? So I don't know what Chester has to do in that category to move up. But
do you hear about Chester Upland, the different moves that they're about to make? CUSA is going to STEM is going to Chester High. Administration is going to the new building that they purchased over there on Edgemont Avenue. Stetzer is going to Widener. These are all in provisions that they're making in the district for next school year.
So they're tearing down schools and
they're renovating CUSA. They're going to renovate CUSA.
I think the Perry building needs to be torn down. That was the first
original.
High school. So that building, because it's old, bro. Like and at the end of the day, it has.
That's the only reason you got is that it's old.
I mean, you don't know what's inside that school.
I'm just
on
asking.
Well,
when it became CUSA, they supposedly.
Like, is it leaking? Is it something going on?
It's an old school. So the first Perry building had a fire, right? And it went up way higher than it is right now, right? I think it went up to like 7 floors, if I'm not mistaken. Now it's only 2 or 3 floors in the high school. So I don't know what's wrong with the building. I just know it's old.
If none of the parents have been complaining on the internet, if nobody's been complaining about it, if it's not like some wrecked up, fucked up building.
They don't complain. That's their babysitter.
No, I'm saying, but really, like
don't-
right now we're in a building, right? I
Right.
can understand this is an old building. It's an
Right.
older building remodeled.
Right.
But if we had leaks going on, if something was going on, and your foot fell through the floor, then you're like, damn, this building need to be redone. We need a new building. But if the building is perfect and it's running good and all that other type stuff, I just don't believe that those type buildings.
So heat, air conditioning, and all of those things can't get in there, right? They're not breathing in the right amount of air. The right type of air is not coming through the
still
building.
got the
So you
old
got to
school
do,
windows.
you got to revent, you got to do the ventilation system all over again. So if they're redoing, I say
redoing
it's cool to redo it, but man, for real, tear it down and build a new one. New is always better. Ridley
we
built
can't
a whole
afford it,
new
right? When
high
I was
school.
saying build us a new high school, wasn't
Right.
that a big argument? We can't afford that. Gio said it right here. Why are
Right.
we so concerned about the building than anything else? I said, well, if you give me a new building, I want to come, right?
Right.
You give me lights, I'll
be
be
there.
alert
Right.
and woke, right?
I'm just looking up this school that I
Yeah,
So-
thing at in Philly.
Kusa is going to STEM. STEM students are going to Chester High.
Right.
The administration that was on the second floor? Which
Yeah.
floor they on? Second or first?
They're on the
Second.
first. On the first floor.
First floor, they're going to the new building that medical building that they purchased on Edgemont, which I think is wrong. I think that should be a technical school. I think that's where cosmetology and economics and things like that should be.
Right.
But they're sending administration over there, with the good heating and air conditioning system. I'm totally against it. They're sending Stetzer kids to Widener, and
What are they doing with the Widener kids?
the Widener kids are still there. They're gonna
You
put
can't-
the other kids.
You
Yes.
can't pack all them kids in that
Oh,
school.
but they are. Stetzer doesn't have as many kids as the other elementary schools do.
Okay.
So Stetzer kids are going to Widener, and Stetzer is going back to Widener College, who originally purchased it, because I didn't understand, how do we sell Widener, Stetzer, and rent it?
So from what I heard, Widener, the reason why you had a Widener sale between the school district is it goes back to the president of Widener. She was in a deficit. So she tried to figure out a way to get out of her deficit real quick and leave the school with money.
So
You know
she
what I mean?
sold
So
the
she
Widener
sold
partnership
Widener
school.
to Chester High and left the school with money, $5 million.
So I went to this school up Philly that I did this program at as Crystal Ray,
Right.
Philadelphia High School. It's 1717 West Allegheny Ave.
Right.
The whole school is an older building like the Perry building, right?
Right.
And all they did was tightened it up. They used all the old structures, how these pipes
Right.
are and stuff like that.
Right.
And they just put new materials in it and new ventilation systems, but it's the same old building, but they like retrofitted it so it's still old school
Right.
and like new school. And this is like their highest. This is one of Philly's like most diligent schools up there right
Right.
now. And it's a great job that they did. I think they could do that with a lot of buildings we had down here. And I can even name one building they did it to. But I'm just saying, when you just said the thing with like old windows, you can't do this and
Right,
that.
right.
What's the school that was on the east side that they turned into apartments?
Oh, Wetherell.
That's what that one was?
Yeah.
See, so sometimes old structures are built so freaking strong
They are.
that they
I know,
don't
but
need to be
it's-
knocked
They were
down.
bomb
They just
shelters.
need to be
They were bomb
revived.
shelters.
The
right.
reason why Kusa needs to be knocked down, because it's cheaper
Right.
to rebuild than it is to remodel.
Okay.
If you got to go in and knock out every structure and only leave the brick, it's cheaper to take a prefab like the charter schools did and sit it there and run some ventilation through it and run some plumbing through it and start from there. It's cheaper. We don't have the money in the district to completely knock down the school. And I honestly believe that the move that they're making is about to do something with Kusa, and it's not renovations. That Perry building's still sitting there. Half is belong to the Community Baptist, the other half belongs to Chester Upland School District. Doesn't even make sense till you do it. The back half, Community, ain't that the name of 16 Buttons Church? Community. The front half, Chester Upland School District, because it's two different parcel numbers, or 3, 4, 5, 6
How does
different parcel.
community own the school?
The parking lot across the street from the school.
I thought they owned the vocational building.
That's the Perry building. I
No.
mean, the Votech.
The Votech ain't the Perry building.
Well, the other
Perry
one,
building
the one
is-
on the side. They
right.
own the back half, and the Chester Upland still on the front half.
That's crazy.
I know it is.
It's always somebody doing
But
something.
I think whatever they grade do with Kusa, the way they moving our kids around, it's not to renovate Kusa. It's not, because you took what, $25 million.
So we need to talk to the receiver so we can
Well,
get
go
all
talk
this.
to the receiver.
You
I just
talk
don't
to
think
him.
that's
Y'all
what they,
cool?
No, we ain't cool. I don't stand for nothing he stand for. He's a yes sir, yes ma'am type of man. Yes,
This is
I'll
ma-
get it done for you. Hold on, give me 1 second.
this
I'm
is
gonna go down here
Nafis?
and get the. And so is the superintendent.
We need to talk to them.
Go ahead, go talk to him. Because I don't like it. I don't like that they get ready to move into that new building and Chester High don't have no heat. It's wintertime. You ain't put a new heating system in there. You went in there, got it repaired again. And then once it's time to turn it on, and you turn it off on the weekend when it's time to go, it's not gonna come back
So
on
what would
Monday.
you say they do with the new building?
The new building should have been for the vocational, for real.
Right.
That's what I would have preferred to see there. It's nothing wrong with the administration being in there on the first floor, because now they thugging it out like the rest of us. The new building should have been for that. Widener should have stayed for what it is, and yes, Stetzer should be scarced out amongst everybody, because Stetzer, we shouldn't have never been renting Stetzer from the beginning. How we sell it to them and then rent it from them for the and rent it for the number of years for the amount of money we sold it to them.
So Widener now owns
Stetzer has owned Stetzer and the old administration building. They knocked the
so
administration building.
The whole area over there is
so
all
they
Widener.
knocked the administration building down, tore up the garden, and now they're gonna put Widener housing over there. But the Stetzer building itself, say we sold it for $5 million and we've been there for 5 years, we
done
paid
them
back the $5 million. That was stupid as shit. In a building that didn't have that has no air conditioning, and the heating system is 1959, one of the first heating systems ever built, need to be replaced. They gave them fans in the summertime, and the windows don't open. Make it make sense. 2 box fans for one side of the classroom and the other side of the classroom. No, I would never. I don't agree with them. None of that. None of it.
Damn.
Yeah, so what Chester Upland is doing right now, pushing people around and moving our kids into one building. They putting us STEM kids and the high kids, because they're going to open back all the floors back up.
I can hit the superintendent.
Go ahead, ask him.
Go ahead and text him and see. You know, when we could talk about what they doing over there at Chester School.
I asked the receiver. Let me text him. Sorry, I ain't going to text him right now. I'll text him later. I asked him, like, what's that about? I honestly don't think that it's for renovations of Coosa. Coosa is one of the most recent renovated buildings. When it became Coosa, the cultural Chester Upland School of the Arts, when it became that, they renovated that building. They put a new, what was it called, the sunroom in that building. They put new drywall and new plumbing and stuff in the parts that needed it. It was one of the better buildings. It was the cleanest building in Chester Upland School District. It was the cleanest building. So when they first did that, that's in the last 10 years. Last 15 years. Last 15 years, that's the latest renovation, them and STEM. So you're gonna move them from Coosa to STEM. Then move the STEM kids over to Chester High. Take the administration off the first floor and put them over in a new building, and they got all that space but new heat. It's the new heat and air conditioning for me that's in this new building. You brought Widener Partnership School from the Widener community. You got that. You're going to take the kids from Stetzer and put them over here with the kids from Widener.
Right.
So you're going to go from 17 kids in the room to what? 30, 28, 30?
I mean, it was about 26 when my daughter was going there.
Yeah, that big change.
JP was
a lot of parents took their kids out. It wasn't a lot of staff there. It was a lot going on.
Yeah,
with
they lost
Widener.
a lot of teachers.
And when Widener left,
Right.
when Widener Partnership left, their staff left too.
So I ran into a couple teachers, and they wanted them to take a $20,000 to a $30,000 pay cut.
Of course.
Really don't get nothing.
Damn. Of course.
Right.
$20,000.
Our teachers only make $40,000
Right.
in Chester Upland School District.
He was like,
they
I'm
come
not-
here to
Fuck,
get the
if it's
experience.
$20,000, you telling me to take a $20,000 cut?
I can't afford. He said, I can't afford that. He was like, nah, I can't afford
None
that.
of them could afford it. They all left. So all the kids that was there, they had to find teachers to fill in. So what did they find? A bunch of teachers that don't have certifications yet.
Are you shitting me?
I'm not shitting. You go over there and look. It's
That's how
chaos
most
over there.
schools are.
They've already talked about so many things that has happened inside the building that was not reported thus far since Chester Upland took over. Like it didn't
But
make
maybe
sense.
if they double them into buildings, maybe they can double the staff. So this building
Bring the
doesn't have
teachers
enough.
from over there,
that's the
right.
teachers got to come
Doesn't
over.
have
Yeah,
enough teachers.
of course
Right.
the teachers got to come over. That's
None
not
of
till
these
next
teachers
school
can
year
go
though.
Right.
All of these things are being implemented for next school
So what's
year.
happening now if they ain't got enough
They
teachers?
just doing it. That's it. Showing up.
Ain't no way in hell
You
I would
got
keep my
kids
kids
going
enrolled
to-
in the school and they don't have no teachers.
What is it called? Edgemont Academy. That's
Right.
what the new Widener Partnership name is. Edgemont Academy.
Right.
You got kids from Widener University, from Widener Partnerships coming in their uniforms, and kids coming in Chester Upland uniforms. Shut up.
That's what it's supposed to be like. This is what they wanted.
Shut up.
What? Think of it. I mean, what? Malcolm X tried to told y'all niggas. They gonna keep it like this forever. They gonna keep juggling y'all kids around. They gonna keep beating up this stuff until us as a community
Come together.
decide
We ain't taking
this shit, and we do our own schools. It's never gonna be right whilst there are schools. It never has been right. Them Negroes just told you to stop telling your kid Columbus found America. They just said it to you. But they still left a holiday for the nigga. You feel what I'm saying?
They did keep his holiday. How is that possible?
They kept his holiday.
Because during COVID, they was pulling down.
It's named something else, right?
No, Indigenous People Day.
Yeah, it's no.
I'm not celebrating no Indigenous People Day on the day we used to celebrate Columbus. So the man that goes around and kill all the Indigenous people,
we gonna celebrate the first day that they started. That's like celebrating the first day of the Holocaust. Hey, we ain't gonna celebrate Hitler. We just gonna celebrate the first day he decided to start killing a bunch of people. But it's just ignorant. You can't win in their school system. Our kids will never fully develop in their school system. We need our own school systems.
Wow.
And if you think about it, it's Malcolm X said it best. If I'm going to articulate what he said something about in poverty, if you have a poverty community, you have a poor school system. A poor school system means poor education. Poor education means that when your kids leave that education, guess what they're going to get? Low-end jobs. Them low-end jobs entitled they'll live where at, and low-end housing again. And low-end housing gets their next group of kids back into what? A poverty-infested school. As long as they keep all of us fucked up and spinning like that, we never get the teachers that we need.
Damn.
You don't got Elon Musk kids that's building a car engine at 7 years old.
Right. But we do have very bright children.
No, we have very intelligent young kids.
Very bright children. We just need teachers that are just as bright and that challenge our kids.
We've lost the part of teachers challenging your kids.
We need Miss Harris's and Miss Smith's and
Miss
Newman's.
Miss Mason's and Miss
Blackwell's. You need them
right.
teachers that care. And I'm not taking anything away from their profession because being
a teacher is hard.
A mom and during COVID and having to help them kids, man, I'd have fucked a kid up if I was in a building. Like, are y'all really acting like this every day in school?
When us as parents drop the ball with these kids nowadays, and I say us, I include myself, I include everybody. What you do is now is you force a teacher to be a babysitter when a teacher just needs the time to go home, set that next curriculum for the next day, and come back and give your kids some knowledge.
So I can't say that we dropped the ball. I gotta say that they removed the parents from the school like they removed prayer from the school. They removed the parents. Hold on. We don't demand that they be babysitters because guess what? If we can come in and do the chastising, then they won't have to do it. They will be able to educate. When you was acting out in school, who came in and told you
my
get back in
teacher
that
did.
seat?
My teacher hit me. Mr. Benson hit me. When I acted up in school, a teacher hit me.
When you got in trouble in school, your grandma walked in the door. Your mom walked in the door. You can't even walk in the door. You got to stop at the office, tell them why you're here, and then say X, Y, and Z. And I do understand that the number of kids that were kidnapped through the school systems has gotten higher. So this is supposedly the reason why parents can't just walk into the building anymore. But still, you telling me I can't come into school and catch my son acting like the class clown and treat him how I would treat him if he was home?
Why would I let you do that? So that means that your kid gets to sit there and learn. Right. That means you're gonna put discipline on him, and he's gonna go back. He's gonna go back to the era of the Bill Cosby's.
But this is what I'm saying. But this
that's
is
what I'm saying to you is that they can't allow that. They can't allow your kid to get an education.
What you said was we as parents started looking at these teachers as babysitters. No, we as parents can't be parents when it's school time. When our kids are at school, once the bell rings, boom, we are no longer their parent until they do something that kind of sort of requires for them to go to jail.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So if we didn't snap about it when it happened, right? Then what did we say to these teachers then? At that point in time, when they told us we couldn't come back in and beat our kids no more, right? What did we decide the teacher was? The teacher is the parent now. Because now we're giving the teacher an extra job. The teacher can't even pick up the fucking phone and call you. He can't even tell you, yo, Naf, come get your son, he acting up. Kenny, come get your daughter, she twerking. I'm saying that we gave up on them teachers because now that teacher, what is that teacher's level of choices that they can make? They like, damn, I know I can call Kenny up and Kenny will come over here and discipline his kid, but the system, the school system is saying I can't.
That wasn't what you said from the beginning since you wanted
I'm
to
saying
yell at me.
I did just say that. I just said it again and I'll say it again. We as parents drop the ball. Because we go to the PTA meetings. Because we decide.
Don't nobody show up to the PTA meetings.
I'm telling you, that's exactly my fucking point.
We dropped the ball.
So we dropped the ball.
We didn't drop the ball of something we never held.
What do you mean we
never
never
held
had
the
it?
ball.
What do you
I'm
mean
talking
we
about
never
me
had
as
it?
a parent. By the time my kid got to school, my oldest child, who was 29 years old, you was barely allowed in the building.
You know how corporal punishment
We
got
was
taken
never
out of
allowed
schools?
there.
Parents voted it out.
Right.
That's how corporal
It
punishment
was
got
going
taken
to
out
be
of school.
taken out
It's not out of
because
every school. It's not out of every school.
No, it's not.
It's not out of every school.
But it was taken out because the staff was saying these parents are too aggressive and they're not allowing us to do our jobs by coming in and interfering. So it started with the staff and it started with the.
I said when the teachers were hitting kids.
The school board.
So corporal punishment was taken out of school when crack hit. Everything happened at the same damn time. All right, we're going to take corporal punishment out and let's see how these kids behave. If we want to put people in prison, if we want to make money off prison, we need people to go into prison. So why not just do it right here in the community? We're going to make sure they stay in this house and we're going to make sure they stay over here. We're going to make sure they don't have this. And that's what's happened. Literally, we are a part of a system and we can control the system if we come together. I preach it every day. Unity makes strength. And if we don't have no fucking unity, we don't have no fucking strength. Strength is in our numbers. And if our numbers are disproportionated and thrown over here and put over there, then we don't have any strength. And we have nothing. We could sit here and yell and fuss and say why. I know I called the school one day because my son was acting up. I said, yo, I'm going to come through. I want to come through and watch him while he's in class. Absolutely. Came in there, signed in at the desk. It's steps to it. Signed in at the desk. Then they took me upstairs. I stood by the door and I watched it. When he saw my head, that motherfucker sat up like this. I sat in that motherfucking school for an hour. He ain't moved.
How about
answering the questions the way you should and every fucking thing else? I said,
how about
JP,
over Showwater you didn't have to get permission?
that was back in the day.
Yeah, my grandmother, they called her on the phone. I'm in Mr. Providence class. They called her on the phone and told her, I'm acting up in Mr. Providence class. She said, okay. That's it. Next thing you know, she was walking in the door. And she didn't drive, so she had to wait for somebody to come and pick her up.
Right.
She's walking in the door. Why do I have to ask you for permission to be a parent to my own child? Why did the system change so much that they took that right from us? My grandmother walked in that door, I was still acting like a fool. I spit a spitball across and my head said, wham. And I turned around because I thought Mr. Providence had hit me. So I knew I could tell my dad because that was a man. It was my grandmother. She put my face so far in that algebra book, it was like I was a part of the words. But she didn't ask for permission. She said, okay, and then she walked in the door. I got to call you because you called me to tell me my child was acting out because my child know I can't come in this building because y'all tell these kids everything. The first thing you ask them in the morning time, if they acting out, how was everything at home? Are you scared to be home? When the kids go to the doctors, they say, are you scared? Is everybody in the household who your mom say is on this list? They ask these kids more questions to get control of your home than they ask you. And then when you go to chastise or discipline your child, now you're abusing them. But they're realizing now you can't raise these kids without their parents. You can't do this. You gotta call the parents. And guess what? The teachers today, these new teachers, they're keeping track of the number of bad things you did because they use it against you right when it's prudent to you wherever you going that next in life.
I say bring back corporal punishment, the paddle. I don't think it really hurt anybody. Every teacher should have a paddle in their room.
Just don't bring back that
on the
principal
wall
that used to let them
or a
paddle
ruler.
him.
You feel me? It's discipline. And if you don't discipline your kids now, you'll be disciplining them as adults.
The system will be disciplining them as an adult. They'll be in jail. You'll be trying to figure out how, why, what, how did this happen? When did it start? Why is this going on? Why is my child being sent off to jail because of how he acts out in the streets? You trying to figure it out. They told me I couldn't hit my son and he disrespected the lady right in front of me. Man, ain't nobody paying. I should have been able to backhand smack the shit out of him. She said, I am a mandated reporter. You cannot do that in front of me.
Well, report that shit.
No, but then I go to jail.
No, you won't.
Then I go to jail. Then they want to come in my house and investigate if everybody
and make sure
being
everybody.
abused.
I had a friend.
I tell them, come take this one.
I had a friend who beat her son. Sent her son to school. Son go to school. He tell the teacher, my mom beat me last night. Next thing she know,
knock at the door.
We talked about this, right? We done talked about it so many times. Police came in, said, can we see his son? She was like, for what? What did he do? He was like, oh, it's a situation going on. We feel as though your son is being abused. He was like, abused? She go call him. He come in. He got his PlayStation or his game in his hand. And she was like, does this look like abuse? He got everything he want. He got a house. He got the TV. He got food. The house is clean. Everything's good. She's like, he was like, all right, son, you can go in the back. She was like, honestly, we just only came here because your son reported it to a teacher that he was being abused.
Because the teacher asked him.
Right. We see that
how was last night?
This was a lesson in discipline. You were disciplining your child, no problem, right? They could see it. What if they want to go left? Like, okay, putting your child in scalding hot water and burning them.
Oh, that's abuse.
It can happen by accident
but
too as well.
Don't tell me discipline. Discipline. I'm disciplining my child because your form of discipline is sending my child to jail. My form of discipline is loving him enough to let him know you can't do this again. Discipline. I'm chastising my child. So yes, I did pop him. How you gonna tell me I can only open hand smack a 6'2", 175, 210-pound boy, and I'm 4'11"?
Paddling isn't proper deterrent, in my opinion. So what is a proper deterrent? How can you talk to a child that doesn't understand what you're saying? Why isn't paddling a proper deterrent?
Well, he got paddled in school.
I'm sure he did, and he just decided to go left. I got paddled in school.
Some of the best black leaders you got in this community right
got
now.
Paddled.
All got paddled in school.
Got paddled in school.
All got popped upside their
So
head.
why is
corporal punishment was more than just a paddle, though. It was more than a paddle. It was to the teacher's discretion.
It is a plus to have teachers from the community. It is.
Right.
Because then them teachers, Miss Harris, Miss Newman knew you. They walked past your parents' house. Hey, how you doing? And they were able to go and knock on your parents' door. These teachers, remember they used to come to your house and say, hey, such and such ain't been to school or this is going on. They had conversations with your parents. Not these teachers. They get in their cars, hit their highway and hit the road. They going. They come back tomorrow morning.
What happened to our community? Because at one point there were so many teachers from the city of Chester, like literally. Like that's who was teaching our children, were people from this area. Shout out to Cheney University, right? Taking in a lot of kids and giving them an education, a lot of teachers and adults giving them an education so they can come back to this area and teach. What happened to that? Why don't we have teachers from this area anymore?
Because they're not getting paid.
You just asked them to take $20,000.
Yeah,
$20,000 cut.
$40,000 is not enough for me to live. 40 or 50. $50,000 is not enough for me to live, especially if I had my own children.
They have to come to a school system where
they only come here for the experience.
I can't even develop. Like, all right, so I do art classes. Like right now, a lot of schools don't have art classes, and I get paid to go to these schools and do like an art session with the kids.
Absolutely.
I get to sit at home and design what I want to do with these kids when I go there. Henceforth, imagine if you're a teacher nowadays and you have a curriculum and you want to teach it in a fun way, but every day that you go there, I have to worry about Ray and Tony fighting.
Right.
I got to worry about Samantha being freaky in the back room, and I can't discipline any of them.
Right.
Anybody I try to discipline, they record with their phone. They're doing this, they doing that. Teachers aren't allowed. They're not what they were in the 80s and 90s anymore. All my teachers had some fun style they wanted to teach you when you got there. It was a lot of different things going on from Chester High to Chichester when I was a kid. It was auto body classes. It was wood shop classes. You know what I mean? It was all the girls would get on the bus and go be CNNs or whatever the fuck, you know, like go to the hospital to be RNs. In high school, they would get the training for that. They had, what was it called? They had not just a Votech building. What's the other building that if you already knew what trade you wanted to do, you could go to like this trade school in high school.
That's what the Votech building was?
That's kind of what the Votech building was.
They had graphing and different situations in there.
Like we've lost that because how can I sit there and teach your son how to work on a car if
I can't discipline him? I
gotta watch every word I say to him.
Right.
Yeah.
When I was younger, guess what? I credit Mr. Benson for helping me be a good being a good artist. You know why?
Right.
If you wasn't doing what he told you to do when he walked past you, he'll smack you in the neck with the ruler.
Right.
Mr. Cotman.
He'll pop.
Right.
He's like, oh, what is up? He's like, I told you to draw.
Right.
He's like, I told you supposed to be drawing this picture up here.
Right.
You right, Mr. Benson.
Right.
And then after he smacked you, then he could call your parents and your parent to come and say something if it had to go to that next level.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Not call your parent and the kids say he smacked me, and then you go and the parent come in there ready to fight too.
When I was in middle school, when I was in elementary school, I was with one of the baddest elementary kids ever, Lamar Butler. I say his name proudly on here because he got me and him ass whippings all the time when we were in school, right? So one day, me and Lamar, we decide we got a test that we ain't studied for, and we're gonna write all the answers on there real light, and we're gonna cheat off each other. The teacher sat there, we wrote we did the little thing. So first the teacher came back. Miss Davis was our second grade teacher, but she came in the third grade room. and said Lamar and Kenny did what? Oh, don't worry, I know their parents.
So
wop. Then she called the parents. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we've lost that. And I never seen a parent come in mad at the teacher for hitting the student.
No.
I seen the parents walk in and say to the teacher, you had to hit my son? Oh, give me that little...
Right.
She never argued with the teacher. And
Right.
if they did have to have a conversation, as adults nowadays, we having too many adult conversations in front of minors. This shit gotta stop. We're having adult conversations in front of minors.
Right. You did.
Oh, okay.
I
You
didn't say that you did.
Oh, here now. Like, what the hell? You always say shit here now.
Oh, I had Miss Thurman. I had Miss Thurman Harris. Yes, I did. Yes, she did have her paddle made in woodshop. And yes, she did paddle us.
What's wrong with that? So,
And Gio, you can't discipline your kids properly at home because when they go to school, didn't you just say she
Right.
went to school and said
Right.
my mom beat?
Right.
So what happened?
Right.
Knock, knock, knock at the door.
But
So you can't discipline. Right, bad. We didn't lose it. They took it. They took the right for us to be a parent. They took the right for us to discipline them. Because guess what? When they got to discipline them, where do they send them? Pipeline to prison. We talked about that. The man said, why did they build that school down there on Highland Avenue and make it them colors? That is prison colors. That's what he said. He said, look at it. He said, look at the structure of the building. Until they added the add-on, it looked like a fucking prison. Until they put them high glass windows in there, you thought it was going to be a prison because nobody really knew it was going to be a school. They knew they were supposed to be moving the prison from down off of 291. So everybody assumed this is what this lot was going to be.
I was supposed to go out Chester
it's
Township.
Incinerator Road.
No, I was supposed to go out Chester County. It was supposed to go out Chester County away from Chester, and Harris was supposed to put a resort there, right? And that was a lot of the things that was supposed to go into the building of Chester, building Chester up, but it didn't happen.
Why?
Right. I don't know why it didn't happen. You have to ask a little bit. That's above my pay grade.
They took our rights to be the type of parents that we had away from us.
Right.
The type of parents that parented our children away from us. Because don't get me wrong, some of us got beat with some objects that they probably shouldn't have been beat with.
Right.
But I turned out perfectly fine.
You sure?
I did.
100% fine, or you want to say?
Budweiser went smacking him side of my head. Bam. I remembered next time not to give somebody not something they wasn't supposed to have.
So Ms. Lisa Cooper said, I do not agree with paddling in the schools, but I agree with discipline though. Think about where the mentality of the paddling came from, slavery. If the slave act up, they were beaten. If anybody acts up, we could take everything from slavery. How do we learn how to share? How do we learn how to read? How do we learn how to give? But if you're not disciplining your children, my father was a strict disciplinarian, and now I'm just going back on things he used to say to me when I was younger, like, damn.
Spare the rod.
You feel me? Spare the rod, spoil the child, right? If you're not disciplining your children, and you're not telling them right from wrong, as a parent, from ages, from birth until 5 years old, if you miss that gap to teach your children right from wrong, from 5 to 10, they're going to be crazy. They're going to be in the school telling teachers all types of,
They say well, our five motor skills have up to 3 years of age to develop. Then they change it to 5 to develop. So they say in order for us to have understanding of colors, sound, certain letters, things like that, we got to start as early as birth to 3 years old and to 5 years old, and how to articulate words and things like that. That starts then.
So I just want to say to Ms. Lisa Cooper that I agree with what you say, sister, but something bad that black people think is that paddling and stuff came with slavery. It didn't.
Then what's your form
Beating
of
your
discipline,
kid came
Gio?
from the dawn of time. So you mean to tell me you think back in Jesus Christ's time they wasn't
They
beating
didn't
kids?
chastise their kids. They didn't discipline them.
You got a kid, right?
Come
Any
here.
of y'all got kids?
Come here.
In my house, I learned how to beat my kid, not because I knew what slavery was or I seen somebody else beat him. Sometimes you got to tag a hand. Sometimes you got to pop a little leg.
You don't necessarily need a paddle. No, you don't. But that was school. They couldn't use their hands. They couldn't take their hands and physically put their hands on you without getting an abuse case.
The hitting part of
was
discipline
the nun
is
started
getting
with the
you back in
paddles with
line.
the rubber bands on the hand. When they were trying to teach you to be what is it, ambidextrous said? When they were trying to do that, they made you sit on one hand while you use the other hand, and if you didn't write it properly, they popped your hand with with rulers wrapped in rubber bands.
My dad used to tear my knuckles. That's why both my knuckles in my hand that big. My dad used to tear my shit up.
So they started the paddling structure in school because they couldn't walk around. They would grab you by your ear.
Write it again.
They would pinch you and they would paddle you.
Walk you with that ear. It was
Like this, all the way down the hall. You trying to figure out like, come on, Miss Harris. Like, why?
And Gio, the
Smith
part
was
of
this-
discipline isn't the hitting part. The part of the discipline is the explanation
Yeah,
of
as to
why.
why you got hit.
Is why what you just did was wrong.
Right.
For me, that's what I believe. My father, if he had to hit me, he would sit me down while I was crying and explain to me, now listen, this ain't what you're going to be doing. I hit you because you did this to this to this.
Right.
Without no explanation, and I just know I got hit for something. I don't know. You could be getting hit your whole
That's
life,
not discipline.
running around just getting smacked around. That's not the discipline part.
Right.
To me, the discipline is the explanation of growth of what you need to learn from this lesson that's going on right now. But who am I?
Yeah,
They
the
were
children are
saying
definitely
you in
running the
front of
building.
The entire school assemblies paddling people. Absolutely. So
Oh,
people,
it's
other
your
people
water.
know.
Do y'all know?
Do they not stand you in front of people when you go in front of when you go to prison? Strip you butt ass naked in front of everybody and shower you down?
And you get sentenced in front of
Are you not sitting in front of a bunch of people when you get sentenced?
Listen,
Are you not getting on that bus full of a bunch of people? Like, very little happens with no one watching.
Yeah,
Positive things anyway.
discipline do begin at home. And Miss Finney, I think that's who it is. The children are running the school buildings. The children are running around telling them, because the staff members really can't be teachers either.
Can't do anything.
They literally just there watching. You
Can't
handing
say
out a
anything.
fucking packet instead of a book. When did we start coming home with 5 pages of paper with the assignment on there and nothing to read with it? Nothing to go with it. There's no book to make you understand how you got to this problem.
They don't want your kid to learn.
That's when it
you haven't
started.
noticed nobody's coming home with homework because they don't give a shit
No, we come home
about
with
black
homework.
kids learning.
We got homework.
Kids got homework. I know.
This
All
is
right, so
this new era of homework ain't
But
homework.
we getting out of school so late.
Homework should keep you
Busy.
You know, this could be wrong, and y'all could go against it if you want. But maybe I'm crazy. For a long time, I remember homework held you up. Let's say if you got out of school at 2:30,
Right.
homework held you up to at least 5, 6.
5, 6.
Yeah.
Till dinner,
Absolutely.
till the dinner joint was ready. You like,
Yeah.
dinner
Yeah.
ready?
Right.
You like,
There
I might
wasn't
still
no
got
room
to
for
do a
you to
little
do a
bit
whole
extra
bunch of other
homework
stuff.
after the joint.
And I
But
noticed
now
that.
we get out of school so late, you gotta understand. Elementary schools is getting out 4:30. They getting home 4:30, 5 o'clock. So they got from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock to do homework and eat dinner. Then gotta take a shower and get ready for tomorrow. They're leaving room for nothing else. Absolutely nothing else.
He's so
Our-
darn bad. Right.
Huh?
No, I'm reading the comments.
Our kids now at CCSA, our kids don't get home and off the bus till 4:15, maybe 4:30. Then they gotta do their homework. Their homework packets, information packages, are 4 to 10 pages long. They're doing these assignments. Then they're not done that till like 6 or 7. 7 o'clock come, they trying to eat dinner in between that. Now they got to shower and get ready for tomorrow. They leave no room for you to do anything else, to be a family, to go out to family dinners, nothing. So then,
So you say
the
homework
next
is
day-
bad?
No, I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm saying that school is in for so long. We still had time to go outside.
So Miss Keziah Finney, she's a teacher, right? So she said homework has been taken out of many schools because there was a lot of complaints that because children come home from different levels of home support, they are now saying it's unfair to give them homework.
And so,
And
and
I feel like, and I agree, but I'm not disagreeing with any of these comments going on here, right? I'm saying part of homework used to be me working to the middle of the night. Part of a community used to be my friend Tony, his mom and them ain't home.
Right.
So he got to come to my house and use the encyclopedias. We got to do these projects together. And yeah, we're going to be up all night doing them. We're going to be up the next day doing them. Everything ain't fair. Like people say all the time, man, you got to play life like chess. Well, you can't play life like chess because everybody don't get the same damn chess pieces. You have to be afforded the things that you do. Miss Lisa, you said the part about the kids, we already knowing the kids is bad when we send them to school, and that's exactly my fucking point. Is some of these kids in the house are tornadoes. And yet and still we look at the teacher crazy when we send this little bagged up tornado into a school.
But you know,
and we don't even check to see if, we don't even call the school to see what happened all day with this. Y'all know he was bad at the house.
But you know,
This nigga break everything in the house.
They try to define why he is bad. They want to know, like, what is the mental issue wrong with this child more than this child being bad. So say, for instance, the kid is home, he's bad. He does whatever at home, but then he goes to school, he's good. Miss Harris would say, I ain't have a problem out of him all day. Whereas he done yelled out in class, he done flipped the desk over, he done did this, that, and the third. So there's no communication saying, hey, well, he was acting this way in school and he act this way at home. The mom, what happens in my house stays in my house. So guess what? You better not go to school and tell him he acted out at home. You better not tell them. So that was the old way.
But it's a divider in it now.
It is. It's been, it kind of sort of, what happens in my house stays in my house, divided everything from the beginning. Because kids are scared to open their mouths and say anything. So when they do say something, it's so detrimental that they knocking at your door talking about your kid was abused.
It's hard for a principal nowadays to walk to a kid's house, right? Remember Joe Clark, he went to the girl's house when she was pregnant?
What?
Imagine if Chester High's principal came to a kid's house nowadays in 2022.
First of all,
hold on. Hello. I just came here to check on such and such.
What you doing at my motherfucking house?
What you doing at my fucking door? You could have fucking.
And then guess what that mama turn around and say to the kid?
What?
You acting up all fucking bad in school. Now they in my business, all at my house, minding my business, trying to see what's going on in my house. So guess what? Now the kid is scared to say anything to the principal.
And then what
Bea
said, they want to put them on ADHD medicine and give them all these drugs and
because
turn
it's
our
about
kids
the money.
into
Our
pill
kids are
poppers.
bad.
That's what they hope will happen. That's how I believe like opioids started, right? They gave all our kids ADHD medicine, hoping we would want to pop. We never really liked taking pills. We don't even like taking pills when we got a headache. Like nobody wants to take their medicine. You understand what I'm saying? So when opioids hit us, it hit the community harder, the white community harder, because they were popping pills. They were taking ADHD medicine. They was taking what's that other medicine that gives you makes you focus a little bit more? Whatever it is, that ADHD medicine.
Adderall.
Mm-hmm. And they were taking all that shit. So when the opioids hit, she was like, shit, take this. This takes your pain away. It numbs your body, right? And then they started abusing that shit, man. So.
Yeah, now, they lied about opioids at first, though. You see the documentary about
I ain't mad at them for that. I was so happy. 360 fucking perks a month.
They said that it wasn't addictive.
That was the best thing ever to ever hit. That was better than drugs.
They dropped that documentary. It wasn't no 360 a month.
It was over.
It was over.
Doc cut me slam off. My back is killing me.
That dad was upset. You told me this was not an addictive.
Why wouldn't it be
form of
addictive?
medication. That's when they first tried to sell the opioids to the drug whatever CDC or whatever it is. When they first came to him, they said this drug will alleviate pain, but it's not addictive.
It's not,
because
I could pop
said,
them.
Why did you lie?
I could pop them for a week straight and then not have them for a whole another week. The only thing that really fucks with me, it makes me constipated.
And it makes you angry.
It's not addictive like cocaine and
you don't know. You don't know that you're
opioids.
You don't know that you're in the addiction.
Oxycodone.
Until people tell you how you act. You don't know that you're addicted to it. Yeah, very much so.
Codone addictive, highly addictive.
Oxycontins.
Yeah,
it's Oxycontins and
we've taken them, bro. Like
I'm saying, I was selling them.
Right.
At one point in time, they gotta be addicted.
They
the way
are
these people was
addicted.
coming to spend.
You feel the need
in the 2000s. People would spend. You called it $80 for an 80,
right?
100 for 100 milligrams,
right.
And they bought them faithfully. I don't know where they got the money from.
Yeah,
I think they're addicted.
I don't know where they got the money
every
from.
2 to 3 hours, the high lasts for 3 hours. In the third hour, your body needs it again. You become ignorant and rude to the people that's around you.
Oxycontins was different back then. Oxycontins lasted them all day.
Yeah,
they had time releases on it.
Yeah, now them drinks only last 4 hours.
Remember, that was the first version of Oxycontins. They was time release, so somebody could get one and it last them all day long.
That's why the man was yelling, saying that you told me this wasn't addictive. When he came to the doctors for his daughter, she hurt her back and the mind. They were the first people to try the opioids. I can't remember what state it was
West
in.
Virginia.
But they were the first ones. They said it's not addictive. They like, oh, we can't keep this here. Because you lied. The Drug Administration lied and said it wasn't addictive. That girl was needing it, like she was stealing and like fighting her parents because she needed it. They was hiding it. She kept saying she was in pain, and the doctor was saying she should be like so far past the pain by now.
I think that when it comes to drugs and kids, the whole thing when they try to say your kid got ADHD and all that, I think a lot of us as parents, like I'm not saying woke. I'm not saying you got to be awakened. I'm just saying you got to be knowledgeable of like your life. Absolutely. When I'm in it, I got my little 3-year-old son, right? If he's with me, right? He's running around the house all day long. Mm-hmm. He's bouncing off of walls. He's boom, 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 go to sleep. Boom, 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 go to sleep. I can't expect somebody who grows up in a lifestyle of being able to run around and have fun and joke and play with his family to sit down and look at a board straight for 8 hours. For 12 hours. So once you as a parent say, damn, I expect my kid to do this when he leaves out of my house. We already setting ourselves up for failure. And the school knows that, so the school ready to give your kids some drugs.
When Kusa first started, they were interactive learning because they ran by that theory. These kids are home all day long until they get here, and all night long until they get here, and they're free to do whatever they want. Bounce off the walls. They can read a book at the kitchen table, read a book on the couch, read a book laying on the rug upside down, anything. So we gotta take learning to their abilities. So they started that at Kusa. Kusa had interactive learning. If you couldn't sit in the desk for all this time, you can go to the rug time. Go over here, go over that section, or go over into the pillow section, or whatever. But it gave you the ability to learn in your type of environment. Like it didn't. So that now they can't say you got ADHD.
How about that?
What?
She said, I knew a student that told me she cut up and acted like she didn't understand the work so they could give her medicine and her mom could keep getting the crazy check.
Oh.
There were people in this community
that was doing it just for that.
That were taking their children.
And the fact that she called it a crazy check, you know that it was a blue check, a yellow check, the crazy check. It wasn't Social Security benefits then. It was actually called Social Security benefits, but in our community, it was the blue check.
Why do you want to take your child to a place where they get labeled as crazy?
And you don't got the money. Because we need it, and that's not considered as your income.
You didn't really need the money.
That's not considered as your income.
You didn't really need the money because you're wasting the money on buying them clothes and polo and sneakers and boots. So you don't really need the money. It's not about feeding your kids. It's not about giving you a place to live. It's about the extra shit. And we sold our children out for extra shit, bro.
We sold our kids out.
We were called ornery.
So when he said we dropped the ball, we dropped the ball in different places. Not saying Nafati specifically dropped the ball, but the community behind her, the people that stand behind you when you say, I didn't drop no ball, I ain't do that. They stand behind you like, shit, I'm guilty. I'm going to just shut up and stand behind Nav because she's speaking for all of us.
We dropped the ball.
Same thing with me when I say certain
the ball
things.
when we decided that cocaine was important to sell in our black community.
Absolutely. The opioids, the weed.
We dropped the ball.
We dropped the ball.
We dropped the ball majorly, dog. Our school systems and everything shifted so badly. Our love for our community shifted terribly, and you lived through it. I lived through a part of Chester where it was mandatory on Sundays that they did street cleaning. Your neighborhood was clean. Sundays, the moms came out.
Saturdays, Saturday morning.
Early in the morning, everybody came out and cleaned up your block.
Early in the morning.
Everybody. It's the whole city of Chester.
Then they moved the people out that knew each other and moved in people that don't know each other.
It didn't matter. What I'm saying is our quality. When we decided to being drug dealers were more important than our neighbors. When we decided that selling drugs to our neighbors was more important than helping our neighbors.
Well, that's just like slavery.
Everything that we just had.
I get a couple
I
dollars.
thought we don't go back to slavery now.
But it's the same thing.
Now I understand what you were saying all that time because that sounds like an excuse to me. It goes back to slavery. We can't do this because of slavery.
So they told you can make money if you give it to your neighbor, right? Now your neighbor coming and knock on your door, hey, you got some more of that? Because what you say the other day, they gave out samples in the hood first.
Yeah, we did.
Test this. Go try this.
Yeah, try this.
How this make you feel? So now I'm coming back like, hey, you got some more of that? Yeah, but this one gonna cost you $5.
Right.
Or this bag gonna cost you 10 because you can take the 10 and it got a little bit more in it, and then you don't gotta keep coming back. But now I'm using it faster because I got more, so I keep coming back. But it's all about survival of the individual, not of the community. If it's gonna make me have more money in my pocket to feed my family, then yes, I am gonna sell it to you, because you don't care about your family how I care about mine. So they say, hey, listen, we can make this. You can make money by doing this, and your concept was, well, I'm gonna let them try it out first, because one thing they gonna do is they gonna want it, and then some of them don't have the ability to live without it. So we didn't decide to sell drugs in our community because we wanted to destroy it. We did it because we wanted to survive.
To make the money.
We wanted to be the ones that got out, but we just got addicted to the lifestyle.